The name of this story is Whose Fault Is It? And it illustrates the importance of working as a team when resources are interdependent. Resource interdependence is the amount of data, materials, machines, or tools that are shared to achieve task goals. And it's viewed as work characteristics that depend upon how the task is organized. The concept of interdependence can also be true of the organization as a system. In other words, the way the work is structured determines how the raw materials or information are combined to form an outcome. So, what I'd like to do is tell a story that illustrates this point. And there was a large manufacturing organization that molded parts for cars, and its overall performance was not very good. It had been good at one time, but they reached a point where the performance just wasn't that good. And in the flow of the work, there was a molding department that started the process, and then the parts would go to a paint shop and then to an assembly area. Of course, there were also support groups such as maintenance and purchasing for raw materials and replacement parts. All of these areas were interdependent in transforming the raw materials into products to sell. The problem was in this particular organization, each area was operating as if they were independent. For example, if there was a quality problem with the product, there would be a meeting to determine whose fault it was. I remember one time I was facilitating a leadership training, and my partner was working with the group, and I was sitting at a table off to the side with a senior leader who was there to observe. And he kind of leaned over and whispered in my ear. He said, "Have you heard of the 5 whys?" And I said, "Well, yeah, I know that 5 whys well." And then he continued cynically. He said, "Here we practice the 5 whos." So one of the departments would be blamed and they'd be forced to make all the adjustments while the other departments operated business as usual. And this was regardless of whatever the root cause of the problem was. So this approach tended to result in pushing quality problems from one department to the next without really fixing them. Molding always worried about machine downtime. The flow of the product was dependent upon molding to start the process, and of course, if a machine broke down, maintenance would be called for repair. The response time and the amount of time maintenance spent fixing the problem was tracked, and it seemed their response time was good, but it was taking increasingly longer to make repairs, resulting in a lot of downtime. So, in talking with workers in maintenance, they said that the brand of replacement parts makes a difference. They said, some brands were more reliable than others, and such as with mechanical pumps, and some brands were more complicated than others, such as with machine electrical panels. And the plant was accumulating multiple vendors for all these parts. So, in talking with purchasing, they said that, well, they took the specifications for a part and they simply bid it out to the low bidder. And over time, this resulted in all known brands of pumps and electrical panels being used in the plant, as well as other parts. And maintenance really had no input into that process. To make matters worse, the system of operating independently was being reinforced by management by promoting people in purchasing based upon cost savings in their bids, while the cost of maintenance training increased and downtime in manufacturing was increasing. And the managers in maintenance and manufacturing were considered to be poor to average performers compared to purchasing. So finally, a group was assembled from this plant who had the opportunity to tour another plant in the same business, and this was a benchmark performing plant. And what they discovered when they got there was that this plant used a team to troubleshoot all problems, and the team consisted of a member from each department, including maintenance and purchasing. Purchasing used dedicated suppliers for all the parts so that all the replacement parts were of the same brand. So the maintenance people were highly trained on these brands and were competent on each of them. Their maintenance training costs were lower, their repair times were quicker, and there was less downtime in manufacturing. When there were quality problems with the product, the team met to determine the root cause solution and the remedy that would have the least impact on all departments in the flow. So purchasing was able to negotiate a price advantage with suppliers because they were long-term contracts, and suppliers were more willing to give price breaks knowing that they were dedicated suppliers. So it seems in this benchmark plant, all areas were performing at a benchmark level. In other words, it was a win-win for the plant as well as every one of these departments. And so the point I really want to make here is when work is resource interdependent, it makes sense to work as a team. Each member has a meaningful voice in the process, and they work to achieve win-win outcomes, and the organization wins as well. Thank you.